And Michael, floor is all yours, man. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for jumping on. Very excited to be with you guys today. So what I wanted to do was just kind of go over a brief overview of kind of where things are with cardio tennis. I'm going to share my screen. I'm completely open to questions, so I'm happy to stop and answer questions at any time if you guys have thoughts or things you'd like to share, because I really want to make sure that the content is impactful for you guys. So I kept my stuff pretty high level. Wish I could see your faces. Wish we were together in person, but happy that the Middle States team has done so much work so that we could at least spend some time together today. So let's go ahead and share. Make sure all the right boxes are checked here. All right. So from an objective standpoint today, we're going to go through a general overview of just kind of where things are with cardio tennis. We're going to get some clarity around what is cardio tennis and how we see it. And then we're going to just talk a little bit about looking forward with cardio tennis and USTA and some of the things that we are trying to accomplish. And then I'd like to just open up the floor for questions and comments and any kind of discussion that you guys would like to have. I really feel like I'm talking to myself right now, but we'll just go with it. All right. So as we all know, the mission of the USTA is to promote and develop the growth of tennis. So now that cardio tennis is underneath of the USTA's umbrella, really we want to figure out is how does cardio tennis best support that mission? And the way that cardio tennis can best grow the game of tennis is to increase engagement with the sport of tennis, specifically for the purposes of tennis as fitness. And that tennis as fitness is a key phrase that we'll come back to a few times during this presentation. But overall, from a mission perspective of cardio tennis, now under USTA, this is what we're trying to accomplish: increasing engagement with the sport, specifically for the workout. And engagement can mean playing for the first time. It can mean coming back to playing after having lapsed, or it can mean playing more often. So going from playing 2 or 3 times a week to now playing 4 or 5 because you're coming here for your workouts as well. From a vision perspective, hopefully we get to a point where cardio tennis is the industry leader in fitness-based tennis programming, and we're able to successfully leverage the health and fitness benefits of tennis to educate and inspire both providers and consumers to, again, engage with the game. So from an overview perspective, I wanted to just go through some numbers about where we are and what we're facing right now as an industry. The TIA study that came out, the participation report for 2019, said that core players identified as playing 10 times or more per year make up 93% of all the play occasions and 86% of all the money that's spent in tennis. Over the last 10 years, the number of core players has dropped by 15%, and the number of play occasions have subsequently dropped by 22%. At the same time, though, there are 30 million people that have indicated either latent or intermittent demand for tennis. So latent demand being players that have indicated that they were interested in playing tennis, but hadn't, or intermittent meaning they hadn't picked up a racket in the last 2 years, but still consider themselves players. On the flip side, the fitness industry continues to see record growth, right? $32.3 billion industry in the US, and that's a 3-year increase from where they were in 2016. So we're seeing consistent growth year over year for them. Within the group fitness trends, we're seeing growth in group fitness activities on the rise, 60 million Americans attending group workouts once per week. And we're seeing that the boutique fitness industry, so these are going to be your Orange Theories, your F45s, your CrossFits, these kind of very, very specific gym experiences saw a 70% rise in their memberships over a 3-year period from 2012 to 2015. There's another study that measures fitness trends, and the top 4 trends in group fitness from 2015 to 2019 were wearable technology, high intensity interval tennis, group fitness, and body weight workouts. So I think that that's key for something that we're going to kind of touch on as we continue to go forward. But just kind of remember that those are the top 4 fitness trends that are driving the growth that we're seeing in these other categories. Cardio tennis participation despite what's happening with the overall industry, cardio tennis participation has continued to grow, right? And the survey that asks people, have they participated in cardio tennis in the past year? 2018 and 2019, we hit 2.5 million people that said that they had participated in cardio tennis. So while we do see the growth in that, one of the challenges that we're facing is that while we're seeing growth in cardio tennis participation, that's not translating necessarily into overall growth for the game. So we're seeing more players that already play tennis maybe now going and trying cardio tennis and adding that to their repertoire. But that is not necessarily translating into overall growth. So just kind of keep those numbers in mind as we continue to go forward. So that being said, what is cardio tennis? Cardio tennis we are defining as a boutique group fitness product that leverages the best part of the sport of tennis to provide consumers with a world-class cardiovascular workout experience. The key here is that cardio tennis is the tennis industry's boutique group fitness product. If I go back to the previous slide and we talk a little bit about what's happening within the fitness industry and how we're seeing this massive rise in boutique fitness and group fitness trends. And I know we have 2012 to 2015 there, but that has not slowed down. I mean, you guys can walk down the street and see that boutique fitness studios are popping up in malls, and the growth just continues. Additionally, when we look at boutique fitness trends, when you look at cardio tennis, it supports the wearable technology, it supports the high intensity interval training. It's a group fitness class, and the body weight workout is there. Specifically even within the cardio blasts that take place in between games or activities. So cardio tennis as a tennis industry product checks all the boxes for the top 4 fitness trends from 2015 to 2019 and supports the group fitness trends that are supporting the overall growth. So it is the tennis industry's boutique group fitness product. Now, for all of the presentation purists out there, don't attack me because I put a paragraph in the presentation, but I thought that this was important just because I don't know who all's on the call. So if you haven't seen cardio tennis before, take a second. I can read this. You guys can read it. But yeah, 60-minute high intensity interval training experience with the focus on burning calories while playing the game of tennis. 3 segments: warm up, cardio, and cool down. Typically, you're going to get the best experience in a cardio tennis court with 6 to 8 people, but it can support up to 12 with the right professional. Highly social experience. Many of the games and activities are in either a cooperative and or competitive format. And we use specialized equipment, specifically the cardio ball, which is going to be the orange or the green dot ball, to ensure the safety and effectiveness of the workout environment. Men on average are burning between 700 to 900 calories, and women are burning anywhere from 300 to 600, and that's just a difference in the body mass. And ideally, the session is run by a licensed and trained professional and can be delivered in a variety of environments. So whether you're indoor club, outdoor facility, all of these facilities can support cardio tennis. So getting into a bit of what we're prioritizing as we continue to kind of rebrand and rebuild cardio. The first 2 I'm going to go into a little bit deeper today, but I'll read all 4 now. Clarity and communication. There's a lot of, I don't want to use the word misconception, but there's a lot of differing opinions around what cardio tennis is, both from a consumer and a provider, and what constitutes cardio tennis and what doesn't count, right? We want to be able to clearly communicate the position of cardio tennis, both inside our organization, but also to the industry as a whole, right? We want everybody to kind of be on the same page about what the mission of cardio tennis is and what the product of cardio tennis looks like. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a bit. The second one is provider engagement and education, leveraging cardio. Once we can clearly communicate it, now we want to leverage the educational opportunities to identify and cultivate providers who deliver a phenomenal experience. Innovation and strategic partnerships continue to drive tennis forward. I mean, using the tech, we have a great opportunity to use technology and a lot of different equipment and things that come out in cardio tennis because honestly, we get to break all the rules, right? Singles and doubles has 1 and or 2 people per side of the court. We can put 4, right? We can let the ball bounce twice. We can change the ball that we use. We can play outside the lines. And so a lot of that, we have music on the court. A lot of that gives us the flexibility to engage with technology in a way that we can't in other experiences with the game. And consumer engagement, just bringing it back to that, increasing consumer engagement with the sport of tennis. Once we've kind of nailed those first 3, we will really be able to drive that fourth strategic priority. So the first one, clarity and communication. Clearly communicating the position of cardio tennis. I want to share with you some videos, and then I'd like to hear some feedback just in kind of what you guys got with that. Well, let's go one video really. That's Evan's fault because I played the video for him. I had it all queued up.
I'll take the blame.
Thanks, Evan. I had some feedback there. All right.
Alright guys, on the coast, what we're going to do in a minute is a warm-up. You're wearing hyper monitors on your wrist. See a different real-time display. So what zone you're in, the time, the calories burn. Alright, let's get started. Easy as this. Alright, just a throw. Just try and pick up the pace and we'll build up to doing it. Catch, and go. Swap. Like 10 balls to go. I want to do a bit of a calorie count, so 14 calories, 11 14. Light. So you thought you worked hard there, or you're in for a surprise? Hustle will get there on the second go. I'm going to go really hard now. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. How many calories are you on? Okay, good job.
So, and I want to apologize that the audio has been giving us some problems. I'm sorry if that was a little choppy, but maybe in the chat, if you guys can just, there weren't very many words at all. You heard the coach talking a bit in the background, but what was the message that you guys got? What was the feeling? What are some words you guys would use to describe the experience that you just saw from that video? Let me see if I can pull up the chat here. Don't hit stop video. Evan, maybe if you could just read off, or somebody could read off what if there's anything going into the chat. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we got some stuff in the chat. Are you able to
Joy,
see?
fun, calorie burner, laughter, fun, fitness, movement. Yeah, energy, fun, cardio, right? And the theme was fitness, right? I mean, the tennis, you could see that the tennis was there as a vehicle to deliver the workout, and that messaging is consistent through all of fitness branding. So we're just going to jump over to some websites here. This is Les Mills Body Pump. When you scroll through their website, before reading any words, you get a sense of what it's about, right? Zumba, same feel here. And these are just some very popular boutique fitness experiences. This is Orange Theory. Again, very similar concepts. You see the intensity, you see the workout, you see the sweat, you see fit, happy people, the technology piece there. And this is F45, which is a newer boutique fitness experience. Again, cardio tennis. So this is happening, and this is the messaging that's out there. Cardio tennis is the tennis industry's answer to that. This video was actually created by Tennis Australia back in 2013. So this isn't a new concept. This isn't a new product. Cardio tennis has been in existence in 2005 and it exists in over 10 plus countries around the world right now. What we have to do as an industry is get clear on the messaging. So, okay. So let me pause there. Any questions right there?
Actually, we just had one that came up from Tony Stingley. Are you aware of full service facilities, tennis and fitness, where the tennis department is working with the E and C area to offer cardio tennis to the E and C customers? What
is E and C, Tony? Sorry, Tony and I have a special relationship. Tony, I don't know what.
Hey, here, how about this? What I can do is, Tony, I'm gonna go and allow you to speak here, and we can go and you can go and elaborate on that a little bit more here. So Tony, you should be able to unmute your microphone.
My bad. In the USTA used to using letters and things, exercise and conditioning and things. I think of like the club where the section office was located at in Minneapolis, full service club, exercise conditioning and tennis and various other things. And it just seemed like it would be a perfect fit if the exercise conditioning area and the tennis department would work together to offer cardio tennis.
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. And so the short answer is yes. I will come back to that a little bit later in the presentation, so remind me. But also, one of the challenges associated with that is exactly the subject that we're on right now in terms of clarity and communication. If I'm a fitness department and I know what our consumers want, if we don't have a clear message around what cardio tennis is, then we really can't even, the tennis director can't successfully sell it to the fitness director if they're not delivering a cohesive product, if that makes sense. So that's something that we'll come back to, but that's a great point, Tony. And now I learned a new acronym because I need more of those. No, thanks, Tony. So what makes cardio tennis cardio tennis? So, you know, if you've taken training in cardio tennis, you've heard of the 8 components. We've reorganized those into just 4 categories that you can think of on a very top level: the right professional, the right professional using the right tools, running the right format, and the right environment. The right professional using the right tools, running the right format, and the right environment. What is the right professional? The right professional is educated, they are energetic, and they're an exceptional motivator. So when you think about your favorite spin instructor or Zumba or Pilates or whatever, a lot of times people, even in tennis lessons, to be honest with you, people come back for the coach, right? If the coach is good, they will follow that coach. They will drive 30 minutes for their favorite spin class. Cardio tennis has to be delivered by the right professional. It's probably the most important of the components. The right tools, the cardio ball, using the transition ball, plastics. So from an organization standpoint, getting people to understand where to go, keeping people safe when they're on deck, waiting to jump into a game or activity. The agility ladder is probably the best piece of equipment that can be used from a versatility and ease of use standpoint. And then also the cardio blasts, we would consider one of the tools that you would use instead of people standing around while on deck to get back into the game. They are doing a bodyweight exercise movement. The right format includes a warm-up, cardio portion, and a cool down. And then the right environment is a welcoming environment, high energy, and will include music whenever possible. And the word welcoming there is specifically there to draw a line and make a connection between the way that someone feels in a spin class. Let's say if you were to go into a spin class and you're a novice spinner, for lack of a better term, and you're riding next to someone who, you know, is an accomplished triathlete or something and is riding bikes professionally, they can structure their workout and you can structure yours, and you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I don't belong. Too often in tennis, when we have new people coming into the game or people who aren't as good, they come into a class and it's like, okay, well, obviously I'm not in the right environment. And to be honest with you, a lot of the other people on the court contribute to making them feel that way, right? If they miss a ball or they're not hitting quite as well, there's no spin, those types of things. It's not always the most welcoming environment. The cardio tennis court, the cardio tennis environment should be. And these are just some of the core components that make cardio tennis cardio tennis. Okay, so to that end, one of the things that we are exploring, and I would really, open to feedback on this concept as well, is keeping in mind the mission, right? Moving cardio tennis from a product to an overall idea that we can get people to engage with the sport for the purposes of tennis as fitness. How can we be more inclusive in terms of, if we have Lenny's live ball or Barry's boot camp or whatever these other maybe tennis as fitness products are that are out there, they're not cardio tennis, right? They're not orange ball, maybe. They don't support heart rate monitors. They don't maybe play music during the classes, but they're out there and they're running 3 nights a week, and there's 6 to 8 people across 2 or 3 courts, and they're getting people to come to the court for the purposes of tennis as fitness, right? Ultimately, they're supporting the mission. So do we say to those people, hey, you're not cardio tennis, you're doing it wrong? I don't think so. I think if we were solely focused on just building a brand and you're calling the product cardio tennis and it's like, hey, you can't call that cardio tennis, that's one thing. But we're moving away from just trying to build a brand and moving into how do we support this overall mission of growing the game by getting people to come to the court for their workout. To that end, we can have cardio tennis branded experiences and cardio tennis approved experiences. And so what that means is if Lenny's live ball is successfully accomplishing the mission, and they can meet some minimum criteria, like the provider has gone through training, they're safe play certified, playing tennis is the central theme of the workout. It's not you're just on a tennis court, but you're lifting weights and doing burpees, and you're just using the space, but you're actually playing the game for the workout, then great. How can we best support that effort? Because that effort is also accomplishing the mission. And that's one of the things that we'll be looking for feedback on, to say, like, we're not saying don't do that program. If we can see that it's safe and it's effective, how can we support it? And that may mean, listing on a website. It may mean discounts on equipment. It may mean more training, more help with relationships with local governing bodies, or whatever that ends up looking like. The branded experience, however, really should be our effort at utilizing our resources to put an example out there to say, hey, you know what? If you want people to engage with the game, with your club, with your facility, for the purposes of tennis is fitness, here's our best example of how you can do that. Here is this cardio tennis branded product. Here's all the support you'll need. Here's all the lesson plans. Here's everything you would need to get this product running, and have an example of how you can do this in a way that's super engaging and effective. But both of them, both the branded and the approved experiences, can live under the umbrella of cardio tennis when cardio tennis is viewed as a mission. So yeah, if you guys have feedback on those ideas, if you have programs that are tennis as fitness, but maybe not the branded cardio tennis experience, you can't see the air quotes that I'm doing right now. But if you have ideas on how your program can be supported, please let me know, because this is something that we're really seriously exploring to make the overall effort of accomplishing this mission more inclusive. What are some of the differentiating factors between the branded experience and what the approved experience may be? I love a lot, like I do live ball all the time, right? Well, not the West Coast, whatever version of live ball, but I mean, come out on Thursday night and there's 3 courts going and it's all games based. But for cardio tennis, the branded product, aside from really what we're seeing is the right professional running that course that really knows what they're doing and how to deliver the experience. We see the core components. The heart rate monitor one, I'm sure there will be questions towards the end, and I'm happy to go in deeper, but essentially we're shifting from, hey, you have to have heart rate monitors, to that the professional needs to be educated on heart rates and heart rate technology. If someone comes into your class wearing wearable technology, you need to be supportive of it, and you need to be educated on it to say, yes, this is what the zones mean. This is how you can get into your zone. I know how to check your pulse. I'm familiar with heart rate monitoring technology, and I'm familiar with the basic science of heart rate. The class is designed with the workout in mind. A lot of the live ball and other branded and other approved experiences, which I'll just use this language for the remainder of the presentation, but a lot of the approved experiences are great if you're already a 3.0 or 3.5 or 4.0 and you're already playing tennis. And the focus of the class is playing tennis. You're going to have fun, and by the way, you'll get a workout. Cardio tennis is that's flipped. We're coming from a primarily fitness perspective first, and we're using tennis as the vehicle to deliver that. And then the cardio tennis branded product is appropriate for mixed ability levels. Not that there can't be level-based cardio tennis that has the right professional and the components and is designed with the workout in mind, but the main branded product that we're focusing on right now is appropriate for mixed ability levels for the reasons that I laid out earlier when we went through the numbers. We've seen growth in cardio tennis, but we can't necessarily say that growth has translated into growing the game. It is one of the few things inside of the game that are growing, but we really want to move to a place where we're using that product to accomplish the mission of actually seeing growth in the overall game. Really weird talking to myself, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so coming back, that was the first priority, clarity and communication. The next one being provider engagement and education. So how do we go about this? Let's assume that we've got the messaging, we're on the same page, we understand approved and branded experiences. How do we begin to engage the providers and get people educated? So let's talk a little bit about the difference between education and training. Education is what we're doing right now, right? Education can happen anywhere. You can go to, let's say we develop videos and you go to YouTube and you watch it, or you see some cardio tennis videos, you come to a USPTA presentation, a USTA presentation, all of that would be considered education. Hopefully that drives you into, you'll see this little gray line floating behind everything here, into the cardio tennis instructor network, where you are looking to engage. From there, we can go into training. And the cardio tennis training course has always been the introductory level of like real training on how to become the right professional. Now we're also looking at obviously the virtual workshop. And the goal is in 2021 to deliver at least one training in each of the USTA sections. Yes, I just said that out loud officially, but no. So yeah, so at least 17 workshops in 2021, whether they be in person or virtual or some combination of the two, and then additional support as needed. Beyond the initial virtual workshop or level 1 course, there is a level 2 course, which is designed after you've kind of had some experience with the product for a while. And then there are specialty courses. For those of you that have been around, you may remember TRX cardio tennis, but then as other branded products, because we can create those 2 buckets of branded and approved, as we go on to develop other branded products underneath of the cardio tennis banner, there will be specialty courses and training in those, much like there was with TRX cardio tennis. Okay, so moving forward, I'm actually kind of flying through this, which is good, I think. So in addition to engaging, the target market strategy, we looked at a ton of data. The American College of Sports Medicine does a fittest cities survey every year, and part of that includes, like from a community perspective, they look at access to parks, bike trails, walkability of the city, those types of things, and they rank cities. They also rank the residents in these places and say, how many times a week are they working out? What are they buying at the grocery stores? Like all of these factors. So we looked at that. We looked at where we had section support for cardio tennis. We looked at where we already had existing cardio tennis trainers in existence, successful programs. We looked at where there were tennis on campus programs and where we had support from professional events that we could activate around. And all of this was done with the goal of saying, okay, you know what, we want successful business models that we can help people run cardio tennis in any given situation. Right now, one of the major focuses is Parks and Rec. Would love to see more cardio tennis in the Park and Rec space. So if you think about fitness classes, a yoga teacher could teach at 3 or 4 different facilities. They could be on the beach one day, in a park the next day, at Core Power one day, and running a class inside Lifetime, on Saturday. And that's common in the fitness industry. Dance instructors, salsa classes, all of these things, they run a very similar model. There's no reason that we couldn't have people who function that way from a cardio tennis perspective within a given region. And so Park and Rec is a great way to accomplish that. So we're looking to develop a Park and Rec model. We're going to be working with some markets on that. The indoor outdoor, to Tony's point, the model of working with an indoor facility that maybe has a fitness component as well, and how is that successful? So we see a lot of success with that in really the Midwest kind of space. So Chicago, Tony mentioned Minneapolis, the Midtowns and Lifetimes and those. So looking at that and saying, okay, if you have a indoor fitness / tennis club, what's a successful model look like? And then additionally, an indoor outdoor. So where we have like maybe some of the more outdoor places, like when you're in the southeast section of the country, or you're on the West Coast and you have a club that's a private club, but it's mostly outdoor, and there's not the same type of competition for court time and court space as there might be in Chicago. How do you make cardio tennis successful in that space? So those are the primary business models that we're looking to develop through 2021 in support of engaging with the provider: Parks and Rec, indoor fitness, and indoor-outdoor fitness. The first phase of that will be to research. So within these markets, really asking the question, what do you need? What the task force in each of the markets that includes different levels of people, really working on what do we need in order to get this working, and then resourcing and giving that area what it is that they need. The third phase is going to be, okay, there it is. It's what happens when you use the same picture in the slide twice in a row. Okay, so the third phase is going to be re-energized. So now at this point, there's been questions asked and answered about what needs to happen to get it done. The resources to get it done have been provided, and now we can say we have a good contingent of providers that are capable and currently running the cardio tennis branded experience, and we are currently supporting all of the approved experiences in the area. So we have a good pool to send people to. Now we can activate. Now we can go to you know, a professional tournament, a college match, and we can say, hey, let's throw a cardio tennis consumer event right at the beginning, during, or middle or end of this event, much like we did with Million Calorie Burn. That was an event in 2018 where we had several hundred people come out to the national campus, and after they experienced the class, they were like, where can I get this? This is so much fun. And we were like, I don't know, really, to be honest with you. And we just don't want that to happen. So phase 3 is to re-energize around activations. And then the 4th phase would be retention. And then retention just is checking back with these people to see, have their programs grown? Are they experiencing success? Do we need to adjust course? From that, and this was supposed to happen much more in 2020, but as we all know what happened to 2020. So pushing it into 2021, assuming we can get it done and the world kind of gets back to some level of normalcy, then we should come out of that with business models that we can then train and spread out around the country to see cardio tennis grow and be effective in growing the game overall. So that's the plan. And like I said, I really just wanted to go through the first, let's see, I know I have an objective. So yeah, the first 2 objectives in any great detail. And yeah, I talked through that entire thing. So let me open up a little bit for questions and comments. And if not, then I can get into the 3rd and the 4th objectives.
Michael, you have a couple questions in the question chat box there. Do you see it, or do you want me to read them to you?
Chat.
In the Q&A. There's one in chat and one in...
I see Pete. I see Stephanie Howard.
Yep. She put a comment in there about her fitness folks.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, so maybe if you know where the questions are, if you want to just read them to me, though.
Okay. The one question is, consistency is the key to a good customer experience. Will there be some type of future rating system similar to star ratings when you search for a business?
I think that's a great question. I think that there's a lot of moving pieces to creating something like that, but I think that I think it's doable. I can't give you a definitive yes on if we will begin to, and if I understand you correctly, you're rating providers, right, in terms of who's delivering the quality experience.
That's what it sounds like. It's Chris Samuel.
Okay, maybe if we can unmute Chris, and he can elaborate.
Can I unmute Chris?
Yeah. Chris, if you unmute, you should be able to go and elaborate a little bit more on your question.
Thanks, Evan. Can you hear me okay? Because I have a crappy computer.
I hear
we hear
great.
you fine.
Great. The only reason I asked that question is when I'm traveling, I would drop in on some cardio classes because as an instructor, I know it's a great workout. And I've gotten spotty experiences. I mean, in some cases, poor experiences. Now, when I go look for a restaurant, I check a star rating. And if you're a good instructor, you should be able to put yourself out there to be rated.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I think that if we do our job right in terms of communicating what it's supposed to be, and then training people and giving them the opportunity to get it right, then I think that we would be warranted in creating a system like that, right? As long as things are kind of the way they are right now, it's almost not even fair, because I don't think that the communication has clearly come out. Like if you were to ask 10 people what cardio tennis is, you're going to get 10 different answers. Honestly, the experience is so different everywhere. And until we can consolidate and clear that, that's why the clarity and communication of priority goes above the provider engagement and education, because the most commonly accepted definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if we just keep going after the education without getting the messaging right, we're going to run into exactly what you're experiencing. And that not only, that's not what the pros want, and that's not from a consumer, you're looking at this from a consumer perspective. If you walk into Orange Theory and it's not orange, you're like, okay, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. CrossFit, there's no workout of the day. Right away as a consumer, let alone the professional and the provider, the consumer knows what to expect when they go into these environments. So I think a rating system is definitely one way to do it. But I think there's quite a few hurdles to overcome before we could get to that. The first one is just getting everyone on the same page with, hey, this is the tennis industry's boutique fitness product, and let's deliver it as such. Does that answer your question, Chris?
It does. Thank you.
No problem.
And Michael, the next question, you may have just answered that with that answer to Chris, is what would the value proposition be for a provider to move from their own cardio center tennis offering to become part of the USTA cardio tennis brand or approved experience?
So I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit, and I'm going to say that that's not necessarily the goal. That's not always the goal, right? And I think that's something that is a misconception about USTA, or maybe has been true. I mean, look, I was in the field for quite some time before coming into national, and I've seen it where it's like, hey, we want you to use our product. We don't, right? That's not what we're saying. We're trying to change the messaging. If you have a product that is working, use it. Right? Keep using it. If people are coming and it's growing your programs, we're not saying stop doing what you're doing and come over and leave that and come to USTA or come deliver this USTA product. What we're saying is that this product is the best version that, with all of the resources that we have at our disposal, that we were able to develop, come up with, get that in order to accomplish this objective of growing the game. So really the resources that go behind this, we should make this mission so exciting that people want to be a part of it, right? And so, yeah, sure. Will there be marketing assets, and will there be listing on a website, and will there be all of these kind of tangible resources, education, videos, potentially challenges, and hey, burn the most calories at your facility, win a trip to, Western and Southern or US Open or whatever, are all of those things possibilities? Absolutely. But that's not the driving factor. We're not trying to compete with other tennis's fitness products. We're trying to bring everybody into a fold to say, ultimately, this is the thing in the industry that has been growing. Now, how do we use this thing to actually grow the industry? And so if both products can do that, I would love to see both products happening in the same club.
Okay.
Does that answer the question? Whoever that was.
One more question here, Michael.
Sure.
Any possibility to work with a PT certification as well, like ACSM or NASM?
So currently you do get credits for cardio tennis education within, there's two of them. I think it's ACSM and there's another one. I'd have to look it up to be sure. I don't want to misspeak. But so there's a partnership with them currently. So that's something that we have to dig into a little bit more. But as we go through the adjustments to the education, again, we need to get our messaging and the clarity right before approaching them again and seeing how we can further the partnership. But if I'm understanding the question correctly, at this point, the relationship is that, fitness instructors do get credits for going through the cardio tennis education.
That's all the questions in the box.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to pose a question and just try to hear. I would love to hear some experiences that you guys are having or have had with cardio tennis, positive or negative. Is there anyone that would like to share the experiences that they've had?
If anybody would like to share, you can do so in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, we can go and we can call on you, and you guys can go and elaborate a little bit more via dialogue if you'd like to do that. So however anybody would like to go and talk about their cardio tennis experiences, if they have any.
As a consumer, I love it. However, I cannot find a location near me, not enough providers. Common story. Thank you, Sylvia. Where are you based? Sylvia's in NorCal. Oh, great. Okay, I just presented at USPTA NorCal, so that's good. That's one of the areas we're looking at. Doing cardio tennis for 10 years. Love it. Many of the same people still in the group. Great, Zoe. Where are you doing cardio tennis at? Positive experience. People seeing the maximum court, Indianapolis. Great. And then, do you mind telling me which club? Because if they're delivering a great experience, I'd love to connect with them. So we'll come back. Yeah. So if you can put, okay, it was 5 seasons, but they closed. Have you been able to find another cardio tennis provider? Since the 5 seasons closed?
Here, Zoe, I'm gonna go and I'll allow you to talk if you can unmute, and we can have that dialogue a little bit better.
Oh gosh, okay. Can you hear me?
No pressure.
Yep, we got you on.
I wasn't planning on talking. Yeah, I'm a huge cardio tennis fan. Love it.
Awesome.
And yeah, so basically, we all, like, pretty much everyone in our same group still does it from over these 10 years. And then the same instructor moved over to a different club, Indianapolis Racket Club. So we're over there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that speaks to the point we were making earlier about having the right professional. You know, you will follow that pro if they're delivering a great experience. So that's great feedback. So thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to put my contact information up. If you want to send me their name or anything via email, I'd be happy to reach out and congratulate and see how we can continue to support their program. So Evan, one of the things that I wanted to do was get a sense of how many people are looking for cardio tennis education and or are interested in cardio tennis education. So maybe we can, there's a lot of teaching professionals on the call, I would imagine, right? Is that mostly what we have? I saw a lot of USPTA and PTR.
Yeah, we do have a lot of certified teaching pros on here. Yes.
Okay. So if there's interest in that, I would love to know, but also one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to open up the existing education. So the Cardio Tennis Instructor Network has been a place where you can get resources after having gone through the cardio tennis training. So in the education pathway, after you went through the level 1 course, you could join the network. You had an option to join the Cardio Tennis Trainer Network, Instructor Network. You would think that I did this presentation. Okay. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Cardio Tennis Instructor Network. And so I'll give you guys a glimpse of what that looks like. If you can all still see my screen. Cardiotennis.com. And this part of the transition is working with digital to figure out where this website is going to ultimately live and these resources. But for now, it's still up. And because we haven't had training in 2020, I haven't officially announced this yet. But if you're interested, just shoot me an email. I'm going to give, we're going to give access. Sorry, this thing's in my way. We're going to give access to the instructor network for free through the end of the year and probably for a good portion of 2021. And so when you come in here, you can see videos, videos that were shot with Michelle out at Hope College. So this is a game, and the different variations of that game. And so the videos are really high quality. It's not a great thumbnail, right?
Okay, we are going to play.
So just tons of different resources. So when you
Okay, touch the net. Touch the net. Here's the lob. Call it.
You can see activity diagrams. You can see different playbooks and education. So the different resources on heart rate monitoring, different access to some of the stock images that we have. So if anyone is interested, please shoot me an email. I will go back and put my contact information up on the screen. There. If you are going to use the cell, please text me. That's honestly the best way to get a hold of me, via that work phone number. So if you're interested in having access to that information, as well as joining the Cardio Tennis Instructor Network, so you kind of are first to hear when we have the training schedule announced or any kind of updates, please reach out to me directly. Okay, well, that was a little shorter than I expected. I kind of speed talked through that. But that's really what I have for you guys, unless there are other questions.
Hey, Mike, there's somebody asked, can you send a link to that? That was a few minutes ago, so I'm not sure what link they're referring to. It may be the Cardio Tennis website.
Okay. Yeah, no,
it wasn't in,
go ahead, sorry.
okay. The next question is, at what point can I call what I do cardio tennis? So, you know, Michael, like in the past, you used to have to go through the training and so forth and be an official site to be able to call it cardio tennis. But I'm assuming that's what they're asking now.
So I guess I would pose a question back to that person and say, why do you want to? If is it cardio tennis? I mean, is it, have you been through a training and have you delivered that? Are you delivering like that orange ball, music, heart rate monitor supported product? Or is it something else and you just kind of want to use the name cardio tennis? Safe space, totally.
Pete, if you'd like, we can allow you to talk and you can unmute and we can elaborate on that a little bit more if you'd like to.
Sure. Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I just, I'm in Meridian, Mississippi, and there's been a huge want for this, and I'm using orange ball music, ladders, you know, when there's downtime in the drills, which luckily we're not having much downtime in drills. Mm-hmm. But I just want to, they call it cardio tennis. And I just, you know, before I start putting flyers out with the cardio tennis logo and this sort of thing, I just want to make sure. I'd like additional training, of course. I'm always up for additional training. I just want to make sure I'm doing it right and by your rules.
Definitely appreciate that. At this point, I would say once you've gone through a training, right, which is difficult right now because there aren't trainings available at the moment. They probably won't come back till closer to the end of the year or the top of 2021. But once you've gone through a training, then we can say that you're licensed to use the logo, the name, the branding, those types of things. But if you want to email me offline, we can talk a little bit more about that. So when I send access to the videos, some of the marketing stuff in terms of the logos and stuff may not be available, but it's really just designed to be there as a resource for people to, you know, look in, get drills, get education around it. So once you've gone through an official training, virtual or in person, then at that point we would be able to give you the license.
Right. Okay. That answers my question.
But again, that shouldn't stop anyone from running tennis as fitness classes. It's just from a branding and licensing standpoint, using the actual logo, hanging a banner, you know, those type. And again, there's no cardio tennis police. We're not chasing anyone with a stick and saying, take down your flyer. But I appreciate you wanting to kind of do it by the book. And it shouldn't stop you from delivering the tennis as fitness classes that you want to deliver, but just in terms of using the logo, we would want to wait until we were licensed.
Hey, Mike, one more question.
Yep.
Will cardio tennis continue to encourage the use of red, orange, and green dot balls?
Yes, specifically because those balls create a safer environment and a more effective workout. So the red ball is really only used in some very specific warm-up activities. But the majority of the class is done with the orange ball. The majority of the class is completed with the orange ball, and it's also a safety thing, to be honest with you. So yes, we'll continue to support the use of those balls. That's my son. If you guys can hear that, he wants to come to the room and be a part of this.
No worries, Michael.
Welcome to our new reality, right?
Right. It's our daddy daycare. It's the new thing now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Awesome.
So other questions, thoughts? Do individuals running cardio tennis have to be USPTA or PTR certified? We have a CTA in a small town that runs cardio tennis every Sunday very successfully, but the leader is a PE teacher who is also a tennis promoter and enthusiast. Could he go through future training opportunities without being pro certified? Great question. Phenomenal question, Pamela. No is the answer. No, very simply, no. But I will say that there are it's encouraged because there are new training opportunities and education opportunities coming out through USTAU in collaboration with USPTA and PTR that will give a base level of tennis education for people. And that's always helpful when delivering the class. So even if we have fitness instructors that deliver cardio tennis and literally hand feed the entire class, but they have the right energy. We help them with the right activities that they can run so that they don't have to necessarily racket feed. I don't know if you guys have played something like triples, but you can literally throw the first ball into play and keep encouraging, and people can have a phenomenal time. So while but even with the fitness people going forward, we would encourage them to go through the Tennis Essentials 1 course that would be coming out to help them know a little bit more about delivering the game. But no, they don't have to be. And yes, he could go through future training opportunities.
A couple more questions, Michael. Will there be a fee to providers for becoming part of the Cardio Tennis Network?
I don't know yet. What I'd like to see happen, can I say it that way? In the past, there has been a $199 fee. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know whether it stays, whether it goes, whether it's there, but there's a subsidy like there was for the membership, the 10 and under membership for a while. But just keep in mind that we want this to be a growth tool. And so therefore we want to engage with as many people as possible. And in the midst of that, find some really, really stellar providers. And so if you are somebody who's passionate about tennis and fitness, and wants to be more involved with the delivery of cardio tennis, to the trainings or the events, just as a side note, let me know, because we are building out the team from a training. Like, I've been on the cardio tennis training team since 2009, and we'll continue to look for great people to be a part of that process. But it's specific to the price for the course itself, I just don't know that, but we do want it to reach as large of an audience as possible.
Okay, one more question. Can you run a cardio tennis class without the use of fitness bands, watches?
Yes. Okay, fitness band, not like the resistance bands. You're saying the actual fitness, the watches, or the chest straps. So yes, right. What we're saying when we talk about the cardio tennis branded product, we know that it's not realistic for everyone to use heart rate monitors. We know that times have changed since cardio tennis first introduced the use of heart rate monitors on the courts. And now most people, if they're interested in that data, come to class with their own devices. They have their own Samsung Gear or Apple Watch or Fitbit or, Polar device that they're wearing to track that data. So do you have to have it to be considered cardio tennis? No. What we are saying is that the provider needs to be educated on it. So if someone does come into your class with that equipment, you want to encourage them to check it during class. If they have the Apple Watch on, encourage them to turn it on, know how that works, know what the numbers mean, know what the different zones mean. And that all goes into being the right professional. So we really want the providers to be able to encourage the use, at a minimum, encourage the use and be educated around the science and technology of heart rate and wearables. So, but is it a mandatory thing? No. Well, is it mandatory that you provide them or that they're wearing them? No. Will it ultimately be as close to mandatory as we can get, that you know what it is and how it all works? Yes. But there's some flexibility within the actual use of the equipment. And ideally the provider's wearing one. That's the other piece. And hopefully with some resources for branded experiences, we'll be able to help with that. And as you go through a training, getting access so that the provider during the class is wearing some heart rate monitoring technology. So at least at a minimum, at the end of the class, you can show people what your data was. And to Tony's point, it's about the safety of the participants with 2 exclamation points. Totally agree. I mean, we've had a guy not disclose some things that he was going through. And, I had a guy pass out on me on a court one time. We had to call an ambulance. And thankfully he was okay, but it was one of the scariest moments of my life. Right. And had he been properly equipped, we would have seen that his heart rate was too high, or that he was overperforming and probably needed to slow down. But it was in a demo and we didn't see it. So, that's one of the reasons that for me, I'm always going to encourage the use of heart rate monitors and will encourage other providers that come on board to do the same.
Another question, Mike. Do you foresee some type of partnership with Fitbit in the future?
Interesting. So the video that I showed you guys was a Tennis Australia video, and they actually had partnered with Fitbit. So being that cardio tennis is now under the USTA, it's not just as simple as picking up the phone and calling another brand and trying to partner. I would love to see a major brand partner. I just don't know who it's going to be. I mean, Fitbit would be great. Apple would be great. You know, we get a music and a wearable partnership out of that. But that's kind of just above my pay grade at this point. But I'd love to see it.
All right. I think that's it right now. Yeah, no other questions are coming in. So with that being said, we will adjourn for the session. But Michael, I wanted to thank you so much. Michael Harper's info is right on the screen there. So if you guys have any questions or interested in getting on the cardiotennis.com website, just get in touch with Michael. I'd like to thank you again, Michael, for presenting. This was super helpful, super informative. I know there's a lot of great things down the road coming from cardio tennis. So we're definitely excited about that. But with that being said, I'd like to give you the last word. If there's anything you'd like to end on.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you guys all for the interest and for coming in and spending some time with us today. And I'm very excited to kind of let everyone know more as things continue to develop. So please get in touch with me if you have questions, text or email me, and I'll be happy to connect with all of you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Michael, again, we thank you very much. And everybody who's on, stay tuned. We have one more session at 1 p.m. with our very own Michael Gladys and Lauren Simeon, going over some simple marketing and communication things you can do for your organization or your club. So Michael, I'd like to thank you again for presenting, and for everybody who's on, thank you for attending, and we hope to see you at our final session later this afternoon.